And we are live. Good evening, everyone. This is Stone Gas Man live from New York City. Welcome to my channel. And we'll have a very exciting evening tonight because we'll be doing a audio commentary for Return to Oz, the 1985 movie directed by Walter Murch and starring Fairuza Balk. And here with me, I'd like to introduce my panel. I have from San Antonio, Texas, Miss Sam Carlson. How you doing tonight?
Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the South, powers of fire and feeling. Sorry, this was the best I could do for an Athane at the last minute, but it's really cute. I'm so sorry.
That's wonderful.
I'm in my super witchy mode. I just am doing like the 90s witches with my crushed velvet over here. Thank you for having me on, Stone.
Awesome. And Susan from Los Angeles, California. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, great. I'm Wicked Witch of the West here. That's right. That's right. Feel free to vilify me for my geographic location. I'm here for it. You say witch like it's a bad thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited to talk to everybody. So
wonderful. And also with us is Mr. Aaron. Now, go ahead and say your last name right now because I don't want to screw it up. Pastantine. Okay. And he's going to give us a special announcement here in just a few minutes. But before we start, I just want to give everybody out there in the chat and everybody watching tonight to give you a few minutes to get synced up with the movie as we have. Now, I always start at 000, which in this case is pause right at the Disney Castle logo from the 1980s with the background and the castle is white. So I'm paused right before the light is about to flash up to see Disney and everything. So give you about 10 minutes to get in sync with everybody here. So just to let you know, that is our starting point. But before we start, I just want to ask Sam and Susan real quick, what is your history with Return to Oz? How many times have you seen it in your lifetime?
Oh, I watched it so many times as a kid, definitely. And it was always the VHS version. And I think I probably wore out the copy that are blocked up your head. It was one of those movies I would rent whether I was like feeling good or feeling sick. It was like, for me, and a couple of other movies that do that, like our Anne of Green Gables, for whatever reason. It was the old, I think it was the I want to say a BBC version of it. Maybe I'm wrong. No, it was a Canadian version. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. But no, it was one of those movies that's like, it's very comforting and you can keep rewatching it over and over and over. At the same time, it's also very traumatizing. So I think at a young age, I learned to trauma bond. And looking back, maybe that wasn't healthy. But here I am.
And you're still alive.
Yeah. What doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
We all are still alive. How about you, Susan?
I saw it when I was young. I saw it once. And then I know I've seen it again somewhere in there. And then this is technically my third time seeing it. And I was kind of mentioning this before we went live. The first time that I saw it, I didn't realize that was Fairuza Balk. And then the second time, I was like, oh my God, that's right. And so now on my third revisit, I really enjoy this movie. It's got a more, I want to say like an earthy take on that whole kind of Oz experience. And even though it's kind of like the dark side, it's also kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas before Nightmare Before Christmas existed. That kind of, that kind of blending the kind of energy, if you know what I mean. I don't know. If you don't, whatever, you'll figure it out because I'll keep blabbing the whole entire time. But yeah, I really do enjoy it. I think it's a great movie, and it's got different facets to it, so it's hard to kind of put it into one genre, for me at least. And I think, kind of like Sam said, it's one of those that it can kind of morph into whatever your energy is when you're watching it. If you're happy, if you're sad, if you're, it's just a good movie for pretty much all of the above.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just before we went live, I let everybody know here that I saw it for the first time on VHS in 1986. My parents had rented it. I think we were all under the assumption that this was a direct, faithful sequel to the 1939 film, and of course, we'll talk about any and all comparisons in the commentary. But I think they were more disturbed by letting me watch it than I was disturbed while I was watching it. Because I mean, there were those moments, there were those scenes that stuck with me, burned in my brain. And controversial opinion, I actually preferred over the 1939 film. But before we go ahead and press play on the movie, very excited to have Aaron on board here with some very, very special news from all Return to Oz fans out there. And trust me, this is huge. Take it away, Aaron.
Well, thank you, Stone. It is an honor to be here, and I'm so excited to announce to everybody, and of course, even all the other people that will be seeing this after it's live, that the Remembering Return to Oz documentary is fully done and completed. And I am so happy that it's done because, you know, the feeling you get when you have worked on something for so long and it's finished, it's almost like a sigh of relief. But the film is done, and I think everyone that loves Return to Oz is going to enjoy this because Fairuza Balk is on this, and Walter Murch, the director, and so many other people involved in the film. And it's going to be outstanding, and I'm so excited that Stone, you have asked me to be here and let everybody know about this, and it's just an honor to speak with all of you.
And before we press play, just two things real quick. Could you give us a brief history on the making of the movie and when it's set to premiere?
Sure. Well, as far as the making of the film is concerned, a lot of people may or may not know that at the time when MGM obviously was, before Warner Brothers bought them out, they had the rights to the original, obviously it was an Oz film. And of course, at the time they owned the movie Slippers. Well, Walter Murch, the director, actually came to the Walt Disney Studios and told them that he wanted to make an Oz film. And so after a lot of going back and forth, they got the script done, and eventually they made Return to Oz. But a lot of people also know that by the time Return to Oz finished, it failed in the box office in the US, and it was a disaster. And Disney, unfortunately, did not market the film into the fact that it was dark and scary, and a lot of people were assuming, the film would be like The Wizard of Oz. So obviously it wasn't, and that's, I think, maybe a big reason why it failed. Well, anyways, to make a long story short, the film obviously went out overseas and did extremely well in Japan and United Kingdom and many other places. So, and that's where it really got received very well. And so it just, everyone knows they can research and figure things out, but that's kind of where that stands.
Wonderful. And when are we expected to see Remembering Return to Oz? Do you think?
So, yes. So I would like to hope over Halloween weekend. We can potentially, hopefully release it by then. I would like to have a possible premiere somewhere, maybe in Los Angeles, because that would be, the appropriate location. So we'll just have to see, what happens. But I would like to see it officially released, in October, but definitely before the end of the year.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what's even more amazing is that Aaron said just right when he came on board, right before we went live, is that he finished the film 5 minutes ago. Well, literally.
The final rendering of the film and finishing with literally last minute adjustments to make the film the best it can be. And I have a really good friend. You know how it is when you have a friend that didn't fully go through to college but knows everything because he self-traded himself, well, that would be my friend Landon Parks. And my friend Landon Parks has extremely advanced, technical side of him. Just, somebody that's kind of right there that knows when to look for something that's bad and take it out so it looks good to the audience. And that's what he's done. And so there's one of the things I'll just say real quick is that Fairuza Balk has so many memories and so much clarity. I had no idea it was as clear as it was until I heard her talking about, when we interviewed her. So it's wonderful. And, it's a wonderful documentary about the film. And the director, and Schultz, who's not here tonight, is thoroughly involved with the film as well, obviously, since he's director, and he had we worked together to get Fairuza Balk on board, and they communicated, and of course we got her in. So we're really grateful for everybody.
Wonderful. All right, well, tell you what, I think it's showtime. Without further ado, everybody got their remotes in their hands ready to go, whether you're streaming. And I should have said this before, but it is available on Disney Plus. And it is also available for rent on Amazon Prime. Okay, so just to give maybe a few more seconds here, and then we'll start. But I got it paused on the Disney Castle logo with blue background. You all ready to go?
Yeah, we are.
Awesome. On the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, and play. And Walt Disney Pictures, which we'll be bringing up several times through the commentary, I'm pretty sure, about how they handled this film and eventually what happened afterward. As this opening title is coming up, just to say real quick that Walter Murch, the director of Return to Oz and co-wrote the screenplay with Gil Dennis, actually worked with Francis Ford Coppola all throughout the 70s. He worked on The Godfather Part 2, and he won an Oscar for sound editing for Apocalypse Now in 1979. And what he wanted to do was make a live-action version of the Oz books after Wizard. And luckily, like Eric said, Disney had the rights and to the additional books, and Walter Murch came on board and said, well, hey, let's do it. And so here he's making his directorial debut, although it took 5 years from 1980 to 1985. And during that time, Disney had 2 shifts in its studio personnel in terms of its studio heads. And none of them were really happy with what they were seeing because it didn't really, I think, in terms of the critics, of course, they didn't see any indication that, oh my God, we thought this was going to be a sequel to the 1939 film. But let me ask you all this first, just as an icebreaker. When you first saw this, did you look at this as a sequel, or did you look at this as something different with a loose connection? Do you think that we were even supposed to think of the 39 film when we saw this movie? What do you guys think?
Aesthetically, no. It's miles apart from the original, but it just feels more real. And it's interesting because it's so much different than the original. I can kind of appreciate it as a story on its own that isn't necessarily related to Oz. It's just borrowing all the characters. And I mean, for sure, I do like this one better. I just appreciate all the weirdness that's going on.
What do you think, Susan?
First off, I agree about the weirdness. It's more comfortable to me than The Wizard of Oz. But when I saw it when I was a kid, I did think that it was supposed to be a sequel, but it just kind of, again, cooler. But as an adult and looking at it, like you said, just kind of borrowing the characters and a general atmosphere or general kind of storyline, if you will. I mean, since it's still the same, she's still going through the same thing with Oz and that sort of thing. I see it a little bit differently now than I did then. But yeah, I like it, and I like the kind of undercurrent of darkness to it, because to me that's a little bit more authentic. I mean, to me, the original Wizard of Oz kind of bothers me in a way, because I don't know, I just don't feel like there was as much authenticity to that environment and that world, if that makes any sense. I'm not making any sense, but anyway.
Before I comment on that, Aaron, what do you think? When you first saw this movie, what connections did you make to the 1939 Wizard, whether intentionally or unintentionally?
Well, to be honest, I mean, obviously, when I really first saw it, I was really, really little. But when I was a little bit older, obviously enough to appreciate and understand it, I didn't really see it as anything to do with the Wizard of Oz at all, really, except for the fact that the ruby slippers were in it. And to me, that was a big part of it. When you see that and think, oh, Wizard of Oz. But for me, it was. I mean, I didn't really think of it all as really anything to do with the Wizard of Oz, because it's completely separate and it's different, and it's obviously not a musical like people would think it could have been. But I love it because of what it is and the scariness and just everything else. I like it differently than the way I like Wizard of Oz.
I think this movie, like this scene with when she's gathering, or with the eggs and the chickens, really made me want chickens.
Me too.
Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not the only one.
Oh, absolutely. I know people that actually have pet chickens, and I'm like, oh, I want one too.
Also, I really want to eat Belina. She's like probably my favorite character in this movie, but she looks really...
Oh no, you did not.
I know.
You want to eat the Toto of the story. Yeah. Because Toto has just a cameo, practically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Belina can talk, and she saves the day. Spoiler alert.
Well, not in Kansas.
Right.
Yeah, she can't talk, but
I just love that it's a farm animal, and it's not, a dog or a cat. I mean, I understand Toto is in it again, but Toto's more like guest starring cameo by Toto or whatever. But I love it that it's a farm animal. It also explains a lot that I'm very attached to animals in films. I'm that person that you can kill all the main characters, and I'm like, you kill the dog or the chicken or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, no, I can't watch this anymore. Like, it's all pretend. I get it, but it's still, I can't deal. So I just love that it's a farm animal. And it also explains a lot that, any movies like this and things like that I became a vegetarian from a very young age.
It should be noted this was filmed in England, but I mean, when I first saw it, I completely bought it as 1899 Kansas. I mean, Walter Murch, he actually said he studied the farmland of the period just to get it just right. I mean, it is hard to believe, but this is actually England.
Yeah, it really is.
Toto is adorable. I don't know, what kind of dog that is, other than a mutt.
It's a border.
It's sweet.
It's a border terrier.
Oh.
Yeah, border terrier. That's the kind of breed it is.
Oh.
This part got me.
Oh,
so watching it again, I'm like, no.
I will confess that the music score by David Shire always brings me tears at the very, very end of the movie. I do warn you right now, but it's when the violins come in. Oh, yeah. That's when it kills me. It really does kill me. But now we should mention Piper Laurie, who plays Fairuza Balk, mother, Auntie M. Excuse me, I can't believe I almost said that. Most of us know her as the mother from Carrie, where she was not nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I grew up and saw her in other movies. I mean, she has such a rich history. I mean, she also was in Children of a Lesser God as Marlee Matlin's mother. Marlee Matlin was the first deaf woman ever to win a Oscar. Piper Laurie was really powerful that as the mother. But I'm sure you ladies love her from Carrie, right?
I was really waiting for her to throw Fairuza Balk in the prayer closet, but it never happened. So
Yes. She just plays the evil mom aunt character so well. The one that just kind of she does, because she makes me hate her. And the fact that I hate her makes me love her because she's such a good performer. I mean, she was so good in Carrie, that I was seething when I first watched it. I just could not stand her. She was so mean. She was so terrible. She was so twisted. And in this, it's kind of like a more socially contained version of Margaret White,
she is partly responsible for taking Dorothy to get electroshock therapy, so
that's why. Yeah.
I mean,
there's a secret Carrie story in here.
Think about it. She's leaving her overnight in charge of strangers who are going to perform electroshock therapy on her that is not approved by any scientific organization.
Yes.
Yeah, that's way worse than any Jason or Michael or Freddie, right? Because that's your family member that you trust, and you're 10 years old. So, to me, and that's where I kind of do say it's a horror movie, because especially if like a young person or a child is watching it, it may be kind of more traumatizing to them to put themselves in her shoes, and at least through that part.
Yeah.
Looking at that machine is already traumatizing. I mean, come on.
And you can see eyes and a nose and a mouth. Like he says, you can see the face and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it too, especially with that building and obviously what happens in the next upcoming scenes, she never sees the basement, and she only hears what's going on in the basement, but she never sees the basement, and they never show the basement.
That's true.
And it's scarier that way.
Yeah.
And the sounds in the basement, you got to remember that Walter Murch is a sound designer as well as an editor. And what he's famous for is the sounds, and like I said, the Godfather films and The Conversation, which is all about spying on people having conversations and everything. One of the great films of the 70s. And he just came off of Apocalypse Now. I just saw this feature-length documentary online called Sight and Sound, the cinema of Walter Murch. It's available for free on Vimeo, Vimeo. And he talks about working on all those films, including Return to Oz. I mean, the sound is very, very important in Walter Murch's films. And I will say that even though this was a failure and he didn't direct again after he did win another Oscar for editing one of my favorites, even though it's not Elaine's from Seinfeld's favorite, but the English Patient, which is a film I adore from the 1990s, which won 9 Oscars, and Walter Murch got his second one for that. But in that documentary, which I highly recommend, and in fact, I will go ahead and post it here so that everybody gets a chance to look at it. I highly recommend it. Putting it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is right there. I think it came out only a few years ago. In fact, the last film that he said he worked on was a Disney film called Tomorrowland, which, like Return to Oz, he was fired on. So,
damn.
Yeah. But you know what? But the sound design in this is amazing. That the basement sound. I mean, literally every abandoned sanitarium urbex video I have ever watched was in my mind at that time. Wow. Like, what's going on down there?
Gosh.
ATM, no.
She's not going back right now.
Nope.
You guys, why can I not think of the actress who is the
Jean Marsh?
Thank you.
Jean Marsh, yes.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen her face in other films, but I could not place where I knew her from. But That's her. Yeah.
I think most people today, particularly millennials, I think they know her primarily as the evil Queen Babmorda in Willow. And I wouldn't be surprised when George Lucas met her on this film that he kept her in the back of his mind. Maybe we should cast her as the evil queen in Willow. And she terrified me in that movie just as well. I mean, to be perfectly honest, particularly near the end. But what she's famous for is actually a British miniseries from the 60s called Upstairs and Downstairs, which is very, very famous in England.
Yeah.
And here we have Emma Ridley.
That's right.
Playing Ozma of Oz. Ozma, of course, being from the second and third Oz books that this is based on, The Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz, where, if I get this correct, most of the plot was taken from Land and most of the characters were taken from Ozma, if that makes any sense. So it's a very weird hybrid. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that is technically true, because in the Marvelous Land of Oz, with Ozma of Oz, with the book, it was actually having her technically in a chicken coop, and then they were all in a boat. They were going across somewhere, and so then
Australia.
With Return to Oz, she's on this chicken coop, but it was being sent somewhere else, and then the storm. So it was completely changed around, obviously. So. And Emma Ridley is on the documentary too.
I think there's this one scene coming up where she's tending to the jack-o'-lantern. Yes, yeah. She's combing it with the ruby comb, which later translates into the ruby key in Mombi's quarters.
That's right.
But I picked up on that like when I was really young, and I got stuck on the sound of her combing the pumpkin.
Yeah, I didn't ever think about that. That comb was red.
Yeah, and then
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's like a head of a deer like hanging up behind Dr. Worley, and I'm guessing that might be the closest representation to the Gump that we see later, but that might be a stretch.
Yeah.
But just this whole sequence is so atmospheric, and yeah, the sound is just perfect. I'm still stuck on that too.
Yeah.
Hearing the sounds of the wheels already on the it's already just putting chills up my spine.
It's like the sound of a dentist drill.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, pretty much. True.
Oh my gosh, those shoulders on that dress. That dress.
Yeah.
Did you get that at the Disney Village store?
Oh.
I mean, it's like, what nurse is wearing all black? Are you wearing somebody?
None of them. She is.
Yes, I have the power.
Auntie M was like, yes.
Do what you're told. And they're going to strap her down.
That's right. Aren't you glad that didn't happen to you, Stone, if you ever went to the hospital?
And how calm she is. Like, why are you strapping me down? Oh, well, but I got here without falling off the wagon, or whatever.
Yeah.
No, girl, why is she not freaking out?
Look at the face on the right. You're going to see that face again very, very soon.
It's one of the Wheelers, right?
Spoilers? No, I'm just kidding.
Spoilers for this 35-plus-year-old movie.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be one salty comment. You ruined it for me.
I know, right?
Like, you had 35 years, okay?
Like, on this stream is going to be for somebody that thought I spoiled it for them. Beats by Dre?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, what were you thinking was going through those headphones when you were young?
Electrical shock.
Yeah. Static sound. Yeah.
Those sounds, It's all about the sound. It's all about the sound here. In
And
fact,
she's
that
still
document.
not
Oh,
fighting
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think
No,
I
go
have a
ahead, go
lag, you guys, so I apologize because it's like
No.
skipping. So I apologize.
No. In the beginning of that documentary I mentioned earlier, the Sight and Sound Walter Murch documentary, it opens with a quote: "We generate in sound and are born into sight. Cinema gestated in sight and was born into sound." Walter Murch.
Really
That is
interesting quote.
a very appropriate quote. Yes.
Definitely.
And now the power's gone
Hey,
out.
Stone.
Yes.
When the lightning just struck in before she's getting the headphones put off, I saw the lightning strike immediately on the back behind you in your place. Right when the strike happened, I saw the lightning strike also of the flash behind you, literally.
Wow.
When it was in sync with my friend's computer, with my friend's television.
That's so cool.
Like, didn't you see that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Perfectly synced up.
Yeah, you're synced up.
Y'all, if Ozma hadn't gone and got Dorothy out of this, like, Dorothy would have just been strapped to that gurney and she would have just burned alive.
Yeah, because
or
she
we
really
was
depressing.
not trying to get out
We
of
would
it
have
at
seen
all.
what
Like,
happened to her.
that's the one thing for me. It's like she's not bothered. She's just, oh, okay. No, like, get out. Like,
Yeah. Now she's gonna run.
And of course,
The damaged patients in the cellar. Holy hell, man.
and David Shire's score is finally hitting full swing here.
Yeah.
Now, seeing Gene Marsh's face in the flashlight,
Yeah.
that is nightmarish as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
and I feel so sorry for her because she just has an angry face. I have
Yeah.
I get it because when my face is at rest, I look like I just murdered someone. I want to murder someone. Like, it's not, so I get it, but I just feel bad for her because she just literally looks evil.
Yeah.
But you have lips, Susan. Like, Gene Marsh has no lips, and so it's like a straight line. It's like a frog, and you're just waiting for the tongue to go. Bloop.
Yeah.
Now, in the documentary, he said this was a set, but that is technically a real rampaging river that they jumped in.
Yeah.
A river on a set. And oh my God, it looks so good.
It is.
Part of my childhood anxiety comes from the fact that their dresses are all muddy.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a Virgo.
I knew they filled that water up, and and they were all in it. So it was amazing, really. I mean, the fact, because as you guys probably thought so as well. I mean, when I was little, I thought it was a real lake and a real river, and of course it wasn't. But
It looks great.
Oh
yeah.
it does.
I mean, you can't deny Disney spent a lot of money on this, $28 million, and it shows. It shows on the screen.
It
Now,
does.
when we get the claymation effects, though, that's where a nice percentage of the budget went. They're still very impressive after all these years, I think.
Yeah.
But first, we got to get it to Oz first. In Wizard, she travels in the cyclone, and here she travels on the water. Yep.
Definitely not to New York.
Nope.
No.
No. Let's see.
Oh, she finally slept. This is what took to cure her insomnia?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Well, I guess if I fell
Exactly.
into a river, I'd be tired too.
And Belina, the talking chicken, voiced by Denise Breyer. But I mean, you gotta love the animatronics here.
Yeah.
They're so,
Oh
It
yeah.
is
impressive.
cool. It really is.
I mean, especially
apparently
for
looks
that
like-
time period.
Yeah, it looks like a real chicken that's just talking.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I adore it.
It really did.
Let's all get animatronic chickens. I'm ready.
You
That would
buying
be
one for us
awesome.
all?
I'll think
That
about.
would be
I'd rather have a regular chicken. I want some eggs. I love eggs.
See, that's what Disney should have done. They should have had the promotion with and sell animatronic chickens in the store for Return to
They
Oz
should have.
promotions.
They should have done that. They should
Mhm.
have done that.
I mean, I guess be thankful for small favors. The movie was given a Radio City Music Hall premiere, but honestly, I just think that. And look, I love Drew Struzan. I can't say a negative word about him, and I would have a feeling that Disney ordered him. That okay, even though we see them flying in the gum, her TikTok, and put Tin Man in there, put the Scarecrow in there.
Yeah.
Why? They weren't on this journey.
I know.
That's
I
the
always
biggest
wondered
problem is that
I know.
they had no idea. You didn't have to include the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Lion on the promotional material.
I know.
You just didn't have to
Yeah.
because they're really, for the most part, they're not on this journey at all.
No, they're not.
It's all about the new characters. So give
Right.
emphasis to the new characters. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite parts in this sequence is when we get to see like the douchebag rocks that are spying on her for the Gnome King, because then like the Gnome King hears about Belina, and he says something that one of my best friends used to say all the time after I showed him this movie, and anytime like if we were having chicken or chicken was mentioned, he would just go, "A chicken?" just for no reason. And it's one of my favorite memories of him, and I'm bummed that he's no longer with us. So it's like every time I see this part, it just reminds me of him a little bit because I think of it in his voice. But those douchebag rocks are probably also one of my favorite characters. They work so well.
You are the first person, Sam, that I have ever heard those rocks being referred to as juice big rocks. I mean, but it's true. I mean, they were bad.
It's true. I mean, I don't know how else to describe them. It's like angry, like the angry eyebrows. I'm like, y'all don't have any eyebrows, and somehow you're killing it anyway. Who wanted a lunch pail from the lunch pail tree? Because I did.
Me too. Me too.
And I love how the chicken's just like, what about breakfast?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, like lunch is more. It's more food. It's even more. Why are you complaining?
There's just trees that have buckets of ready-made food. I'm good. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Now notice in the background on the right with the effects.
Yeah.
Actually watching her from that distance, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And of course, this is Will Vinton, who studied physics, architecture, and filmmaking at the University of California, Berkeley, and he got into claymation. And in 1973, he made a 16 millimeter short film about a drunk wino who stumbles into a closed art museum and interacts with paintings and sculptures. Completed in late 1974, after 14 months of production, the film combined his friend's sculpting skills and comedy writing talent with Vinton's camera skills. The movie, called Closed Mondays, won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 1975. So he was an expert in claymation at the time. And in fact, he was nominated for his work on Return to Oz. Return to Oz actually got an Oscar nomination for the visual effects. Very well deserved. Yeah.
Yeah, the look of this movie is fantastic.
It really is.
The look, the tone, the mood, I love it all. I love it all. It manages to get it just right, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys always love this house?
Yes.
Me too. I loved it.
I like
Now-
her. I like the one that they're building at the beginning because that made me fall in love with like wanting to live out in the country and have chickens.
Yeah.
This one's fine. It's just been through a tornado, so could use some work.
Yeah. Find your broomstick since you're a witch, or a good witch, or bad witch.
Oh wait,
I use a Swiffer. I wrote a Swiffer. Thank you.
Yeah, so
I have a broom on the wall right on the other side of this line.
Really?
Like a handcrafted broom. It has it has a broom spirit face carved in it and everything. Yeah.
Really?
That's cool.
I would love to see it soon. So.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'll go get it.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay.
What was your initial reaction to the yellow brick road and it all being just torn up to shreds?
I think that, it was kind of, I think for at least with the audience, it was just kind of strange, the fact that it was actually broken. So then when you see her, running right now, she's upset, she wants to find her friends. And so she's gone to find them, and she doesn't want to walk slowly. She wants to find them. I mean, I think about that.
I don't remember what I thought at the time I first saw it, but seeing it again just makes me want to go visit that. Apparently there's an abandoned Wizard of Oz theme park. And I saw like a picture apparently that's from it. And I was like, this is just Return to Oz.
Yeah.
Because that yellow brick road looks messed up.
And that park's still in existence. They redid it now, actually. So it's still outgoing, and they do tours. So, yeah. Did you find it?
Mm-hmm. It's really big, though. Okay, so here's the broom part.
Gosh.
Oh, wow.
It was all made by hand. It's really big.
Really
and then
cool.
here is the...
I see. I can see it.
You can see the carving in it.
Wow. It's hard for me to see it.
Wait, which way do I turn it for you guys?
That way, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the face now. Yeah.
Kind of looks like Santa or a
It does
gnome.
look like
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why Jack Frost came to mind, but
Yeah.
Like Green King, Oak King, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really neat.
Yeah. So now I'll just be holding my broom. But you know what though? I mean, come on. Like I'm ready for all the vibes.
And is it a poppy flower that's on your hair?
It's an eyeball.
Okay. Oh, it's an eyeball. It's an eyeball. Okay.
Wow.
I see.
It's just don't be scared. It's
I'm
on
not
brand.
scared.
It's on brand for me. Okay. I'm very weird.
I was about to ask whose eyeball was it, but
Yeah.
I also brought out the creepy jack-o'-lantern
see.
from the dairy farm from a few years ago. Yeah, it's just a plastic though. It's okay. It's not real. I'll let you know when it is. But for now, it's just plastic. Yeah.
now here's the foreshadowing of missing heads.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I mean, they worked on this so well. They set everything up so well in this movie. And of course, I mean, we need kind of an explanation as to where our familiar characters are. And of course, first and foremost, here's the Tin Man.
I just want to imagine her with one of the, like, I don't know if you guys remember the Halloween Happy Meal, like, kale buckets, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
I don't know why, but my brain just goes there when she's running up with the lunch bucket, that it's just very reminiscent.
Yeah.
I miss the McDonald's chicken nuggets when those toys went in the Happy Meals. It had little Halloween costumes. Oh, that's childhood for me. Also, those buckets, though.
Oh, gosh.
The Wheelers are attacking.
Yes,
In
they
the
are.
book, they
Army
actually.
of Boy Georges.
Oh my
Boy George. Y'all know, come on. Y'all know that was just Boy George on wheels.
Somebody in England was like, yeah, I know how the Wheelers should look. You know what? It still works. I don't care.
Yeah, it totally does.
Again,
I
those
mean,
sounds, those sound effects. Oh man, they are all so important.
Yeah.
All so important. Now, in the
And
book, when I read this part, they chase her up a hill. They chase her up like a rocky hill and everything. And of course, they tell her the same thing, like, "Oh my God, you stole a lunch pail. You need to die. We're gonna just rip you up into little pieces now." Like, what the hell? You're taking a lunch pail? Like, wow.
I mean, they're running around on pizza cutters. They're probably sharp, so.
Probably.
Also, can we appreciate the fact that the Oz key is just the Ghostbusters symbol?
You think?
A little bit.
ah,
Somebody was inspired by this.
Yeah.
So bad about the chicken. The best.
The chicken.
Okay. All right.
I think I'm hearing the volume. Somebody might want to turn down the volume a bit before Disney flags it.
Okay.
mine's on mute. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
With Disney, I'm just too paranoid. I'm too paranoid about what they might do.
Yeah.
If it was any other movie, fine. Well, see, I read this interesting about several years ago that if you download illegally another movie from any other studio, you won't be bothered. But if it's Disney,
they don't have enough money, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they just. Well, see, okay, let me talk about Disney for a minute. Let's talk about this Blu-ray, which I'm watching. I swear, the name Disney appears on this Blu-ray packaging at least 20 times. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's bad enough that the video quality is barely adequate enough for the Blu-ray quality. It's just the sound quality and visual quality is fine for the Blu-ray, but it just has no extras. The original DVD at least had an interview with Fairuza Balk and a featurette, like a 10-minute featurette. But yeah, and just think how much is in Disney's vault that will never see the light of day.
And there has to be, and I know there is, because a number of years ago, I was able to thankfully come across deleted scenes, and shockingly, well, even now, I mean, thankfully, all these deleted scenes from Return to Oz are on YouTube that were done, prior to the final edit, which weren't included. And so, are you guys familiar with the deleted scenes, right?
I don't think I am.
Okay,
I don't think I am even.
If you go on YouTube and you put in Return to Oz deleted scenes, they're all going to come up. So there's these deleted scenes, and so my friend had them, and I gave them to these whole cut scenes to him, and then he decided, well, he's going to put it on YouTube. So thousands of people have seen it already. So you guys will be able to see these, and so basically, I mean, you can look it up and you can see there, but a number of the scenes are basically extended, pretty much, and but the story behind that is Doug Aberley, who was involved with the claymation, actually, with Will Benton, he was basically at the studio. And at one point, and this is technically public knowledge already, so not a lot of people know it, but it is public knowledge. But basically what happened is Disney ended up literally dumping these actual Betamax or these beta tapes or whatever they were of this footage of the deleted scenes in a recycle bin. Doug Aberley, who worked on the film, who during the time of the film, before the film was fully done, found them in the recycle bin and realized it was Return to Oz, got them, and he basically ended up keeping them for a long time because Disney, they were going to be, it's done for. So I don't even really know I don't even know to this day if there were even other backup copies that Disney even had, or they were just, the ones. But anyway, so now there's deleted scenes. So in other words, you know, at the time, the company didn't even care that much about that either. You know.
May I state that this Blu-ray is one of the very few Disney Blu-rays that I own, period. I only own about 2 or 3 of them because I've gotten tired of just stuff like that. Like, just why throw away deleted scenes?
Yeah.
Now, I understand that Walter Murch said in the documentary I mentioned earlier that, you know, his cut of Return to Oz, this is his cut. So, you know, and he's obviously very proud of it. I mean, as he should be. I mean,
he is.
So thankfully, I mean, the deleted scenes weren't a big deal to him, but at the same time, you know, did you have to dump them? I mean, really?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I mean, obviously, you know, Walter Murch, you know, he's a director. They all had their final approval and everything. So it wasn't like, I'm sure that Walter Murch did not want the scenes to be gone, obviously. But at the same time, it was more of the other people at Disney, not, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like it was, you know, the direct people involved with making the film were done. It was the other people in the studio. So, and that's unfortunate, because then, you know, it wasn't until years later that people got to see those scenes.
I love this.
Yeah.
Just beat all the Wheelers.
Yep.
Yes.
Did you guys ever think that when the Wheelers are out here and when they were fighting, did you guys ever think that, like, one of them was going to just cut the other one's head off because their wheels are so sharp?
I mean, this sharpness did occur to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Also, I love TikToks. His line of offense is just doing the, like, swing. I'm just going to swing my arms and walk towards you, and if you get in my way, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
And this Wheeler right here, he's played by Pons Mar, who had a lot of circus experience, if I remember correctly. He's a puppeteer, he's a artist, and everything. He performed the voice and the body model for the Noid in the popular Domino's pizza commercials of the 1980s.
That's awesome. Right. I love the Noid.
Yeah, right.
The Noid. Oh, he was also on the TV show Dinosaurs, if you remember that from the
God,
the early 90s. Yeah,
you guys.
And he's also worked on the Golden Child, Masters of the Universe, the Blob remake, Monkey Bone. So yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
He's got a great resume.
Yeah, he does.
I swear, now, it's like the Wheeler's jackets just look like repurposed bell bottoms.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that, I mean, back in 85, I mean, they drew upon their experiences from the 60s and 70s with regard to, you know, clothing and everything.
Hey, I love bell bottoms. They're way better than skinny jeans.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the Nancy Drew of the 1970s, Pamela Sue Martin and her bell bottoms. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, no, another childhood anxiety moment for me because, like, TikTok just tracking. Like, he's not even tracking anything. My husband had to point this out to me. But growing up, I thought he was leaving tracks on the floor.
Yeah, you're right.
I've had that thought for at least 30 years now.
Well, it's meant to show that nobody has been keeping up the place and cleaning it. It was like, oh man, that's bad.
Her main chambers are fine.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. I don't care about the hallways. You know, I don't care about those.
Yeah. And it really is beautiful, you know? I mean, being and seeing that with those mirrors and how beautiful that inside was. I mean, it was beautiful.
Man, I was hoping one of them didn't have a reflection. They were actually vampire. Like Dorothy, no reflection, just walking by the mirror, nobody noticed until now.
Right.
I was going to read this real quick. When Mr. Murch gave Disney his first draft screenplay in spring of 1982, the studio was uneasy. Mr. Murch says his frame was considered too weird and cold. The problem with the bleak and scary scenes in Kansas would continue through research previews of the almost finished film 3 years later. Mr. Murch asked for his friend Gary Kurtz, and Star Wars fans know who Gary Kurtz is because he actually produced both the original film and Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And he became the executive producer on this movie. Gary Kurtz did after he was fired from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, the names behind this production are huge, and yet, granted, not everyone know who Walter Murch or Will Vinton or Gary Kurtz are by name, but they are massive in the industry.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, these heads. Who wants to talk about the heads?
Well, I will say one quick thing that is in the documentary, since I'm not going to say everything about what is in the documentary, but when it comes to these heads, there was a few occasions where when all these scenes were being filmed, so their heads were right there, the back of them, they had the dresses or all that stuff, whatever was there, and they were all just like having their heads like this type of a thing basically was going on. So the other of their backside was just right there when they were trying to be in the front. So basically there was like they were laughing, they were joking, and and they were also there for such a long time, so they were tired, but there was so much joking on. They were joking with each other.
I just need to know how many dirty jokes they were making.
I have not heard about any of that, but I mean, I will say that Walter Murch's daughter does say in the documentary that she thought it was like always funny because Walter Murch's daughter, she was there on the set and it was her voice. They got switched around when things got dubbed with Emma Ridley and Oswald. Well, anyways, but she basically she says in the documentary, she's like, oh, well, she's like, oh, those bums were back there and all that. So, I mean, I don't know if that was that dirty enough, but that she did say that, and then she starts laughing. So, I mean, that's in the film. And the documentary.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a favorite Mombi head?
Oh, that's
I mean, they look very similar, although
they do.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. That one, the sassy brunette who does the cool laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to look at the second sequence of heads before I made that decision.
Yeah.
But
they're kind of like the rest of Ariel's sisters in The Little Mermaid. Like they all are pretty, but they all kind of look the same. And
yeah.
Apart.
That's right.
All this dust and cobwebs, I mean, it makes you realize how long it's been since she's been back in Oz.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the ratio is. Like is one day in Kansas equal to like 500 days on Oz? Do we really know that? I don't think so. The Gnome King's Mountain.
Yep, Gnome King's Mountain.
And here again, David Shire's score. This movie, I mean, it doesn't have any songs like the 39 film, and it doesn't need a single song.
No.
That score carries these scenes emotionally and dramatically and metaphorically enough to where we don't need a single song. We don't need a single lyric. I mean, even at the end when, things obviously end up going back to normal, but, David Shire's score is just amazing and moving, and I adore it. It's all on YouTube, by the way, and in their extended versions, the tracks.
Is that Julius Caesar?
It is, isn't it?
I think
Yeah,
I
isn't
think
that-
so.
Yeah. Isn't Julius Caesar the head? Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, that's my new favorite Mombi head, the Julius Caesar one.
Are you sure?
Dude, that'd be wild. Maybe that's why the Julius Caesar head is up there. It displeased her and she turned the head into stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this was the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and Jack
Now, this
even.
is-
I mean,
this
I
is
know
Brian
Jack o'
Henson.
Lantern, but still.
This is Brian Henson, who of course is the son of Jim Henson,
Yep.
doing Jack Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
On the documentary, Jim Henson asked him when he was in England making the movie, Walter Murch, obviously because his son was working on it, but he asked him, so are you happy? Is everything going well? And Walter Murch said, well, I may not be happy, but at the same time, if somebody took this away from me, I would be devastated. So I'm as happy as I could possibly be. And, by this time, I think by this time, the Muppet movies had come out, The Muppet Takes Manhattan and The Great Muppet Caper and The Dark Crystal, which of course was by Jim Henson and one of those fantasy films of the 80s that got burned in people's brains as far as nightmare fuel is concerned.
I think it's interesting. Jack Pumpkinhead has qualities of both Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas with having to have his limbs tied back on.
Yeah.
It's really blowing my mind now that I'm thinking about it. Also, I have to kind of question the leadership of Oz at this point because, okay, so Ozma made Jack, but she didn't use the powder of life on him. Mombi had to do that.
That's
and
right.
Jack was set up as a as defense for Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay, sure. And I mean, like the Scarecrow is the King of Oz. Y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all really need to rethink your defense strategies. Maybe this is why you always need Dorothy bailing you out.
Yeah.
And let me just say, I think this is the right time to say, look, I mean, God bless everyone out there who loves the 1939 movie because for all its technical achievements, it was vaudeville. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a massive Three Stooges fan, but it was vaudeville. It wasn't L. Frank Baum. Baum actually made Oz films of himself in the early 1900s. He actually made silent Oz films. The real sequel to Wizard of Oz is the 1964 animated film Journey Back to Oz with Liza Minnelli in her late mother's role. That's the real sequel. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing with Return to Oz is that I think it's a sequel to a film that never existed. I think that it has the tone and the visual style of the Baum books down to a T. The only two flaws would be that the final sequence in Oz, I think, is a little rushed. And I do have a problem with the ruby slippers, which we'll talk about when we get to them.
Oh, that's too bad.
You don't say.
Well, I mean, you'll understand when we get there. But and yes, this is Brian Henson's voice as Jack Pumpkinhead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a perfect Halloween movie. This is a Halloween staple as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It really is. Yeah.
And and you guys already probably know this, but there's so many other people that when they have seen it, they think that the film was a type of horror.
Whoa, everything okay?
Everything is fine. It's the evil spirit at Aaron's house.
I think that's probably what it could have been. I hope not. So I don't know, but I think it's okay now.
Is it just me, or is TikTok being mean to Jack Pumpkinhead by saying, "Oh, I understand it better than you do"? Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
that's
like,
kind of mean.
There has to be drama.
TikTok, you require somebody to wind you up so you can have thoughts. I wouldn't be talking smack like that. I know, like, technically, Jack doesn't have anything in his head either, but y'all, this is a losing battle.
There's that ruby red key you mentioned earlier. I never made that connection with the comb. Oh, man.
All these years. I mean, I knew what the key was, but both the keys, but my gosh, I cannot believe I didn't even know that about the key, the comb was that, and there was that same color red, the comb.
Yeah, it's like, it's really pretty.
It's
that red, it's translucent red. And
Yeah,
I wonder
translucent.
you can almost see through it. But I spent a lot of time, like growing up watching this movie, I spent a lot of time making the connections between stuff in the real world and how that was translating over into her dream of dream/Oz.
Yeah.
Right.
So just
that is neat to think of it like that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like analyzing.
Analyzing
the entire thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, analyzing.
Oh, the scene where she's trying to steal the key from Mombi always just. Oh man, that was always a really well done scene, because it's like you always it creates suspense very well on its own. It's done in a lot of other movies, but
yeah.
I think it's because Fairuza Balk is so relatable as Dorothy. She's
Mhm.
just like a normal kid. I feel like if we got something like this now, our kid characters are too self-aware.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't feel like real people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I particularly love about the Dorothy in this film, I mean, especially when you compare it to Judy Garland, in the original, is in the original she just wanted to go home. In this movie, she actually takes a proactive maternal approach.
Yeah.
And brings all these new personalities together as a virtual army. I mean, get that, sync that. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it's definitely one of my favorite aspects of the movie, and it gives you the warm fuzzies. I like seeing the power of friendship and something like this.
Yeah.
The way Jack Pumpkinhead calls her mom,
I know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That she is essentially taking a maternal leadership role here.
And
it's very powerful.
Her mom too,
Yeah.
He calls her mom.
I mean, she turned 10 when this movie was being made, and extraordinary.
Yeah.
So, Mombi is just short for like mom zombie, right?
Mommy's upset now. She's very mad.
Yeah, I think my parents were just in shock at this point. Like, what are we watching?
Yeah.
This where are all the munchkins?
Yeah,
right. That's what's so weird about Disney too. Disney, all about kids movies. Let's traumatize kids. Like, it's confusing.
That's what happened. What happened to so many of them.
In 1979, Disney started experimenting with PG-rated material because people weren't going to see the movies. I mean, only the theme parks were making money. And, they put out The Black Hole, which had a very, very dark undertone to it, and also a few language words that weren't even more than damn or hell. But even still, that got a PG. One of my favorite horror films, The Watcher in the Woods, who I did an audio commentary on early in the year, is a film that Disney hates because it was pitched as Disney's response to The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And that movie has been noted as actually having traumatized kids because of the story of a girl disappearing through means of cult-like activities, meeting for games and making objects move and that kind of thing. And that's not Disney's image. It's just not.
And in reality too, I mean, The Watcher in the Woods really wouldn't have been a kid's movie except for that other character. But the thing is, though, what was going on? I mean, obviously at the time, I mean, there were plenty of teenagers and other people that would understand that, but little kids wouldn't. At least with that.
Did anyone think the Gump was really comfortable?
Huh?
Did anyone think the Gump sofa was like really comfortable?
Yes.
It looks great.
I know.
I want one in my house.
Do you guys ever go to sometimes I don't know if you guys go to any antique shops or anything like that? Or do you guys and then you think you see a couch that's similar, but that's not the same one?
Really need to reconsider getting furniture at thrift stores. I never think about it.
Yeah.
Fairuza's scream sounded all too natural.
Yeah, it does.
All too natural.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of the way, Sean McManus wants to know what everybody thinks of Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh,
say your thoughts real quick,
yeah.
and we'll never mention it again.
Okay. I think it was a great film. I mean, I think when I saw that film, I mean, yeah, it was really wonderful and it was good. And obviously, it's not Return of Oz, but I think that film had enough success. They should have given, you know, Return to Oz a wide release, because that's what I thought was going to happen with it. You know, that's what I thought. I wish that would have happened. No, it didn't.
I thought it was too slick, but you know, and I'm not really into James Franco that much,
Yeah.
but I loved Mila Kunis.
Yeah,
she
was good.
She knocked it out of the park.
I love Michelle Williams and Mila
Oh
Kunis.
yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Rachel Weisz was in there. Yes.
Yeah.
And also
They're all very good.
the three original actresses from the original Evil Dead from 1981, they had cameos in
Oh,
the
really?
movie. Yeah, they did.
Oh wow,
Sam Raimi gave him a little cameo or two. Yeah.
that's cool.
Wait, who
Yep.
was Bruce Campbell in that movie? I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, where was he in Oz the Great? I've only seen it once, and I haven't returned to it.
I've never seen it.
Are you guys
fine, but-
are you guys Wicked fans at all, or?
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
I missed the Wicked craze, so I missed the train, and I never caught back up to it.
You can get back to it anytime you want.
I know, and I mean, I want to just like, it's so far off. There's so much media to consume.
Yeah, there it is.
I was just kind of over it
Yeah.
before it, or I mean, not before it began, but I was just kind of. It's like a song that has a lot of potential, but it gets played to death, and then you're just like, I don't even want to look or hear anything about this anymore, and that's kind of how I felt about it.
So, yeah, you've had enough.
When Walter Murch was fired during the making of this movie, like, I don't know, like 6, 7. I mean, this movie took like 6 months to shoot. During that time, he got fired.
Yeah.
George Lucas called the studio and said, "You're making a big mistake. You're making a huge, huge mistake. Don't fire Walter Murch." I mean, George Lucas actually came on set and talked to Fairuza Balk and the studio heads and calmed everybody and said, no, trust me, this movie is in the right hands. You don't want to make this mistake. And thankfully they didn't. And it was only, according to a New York Times article that came out before the film's premiere, that Disney, they weren't 100% satisfied until after half of the claymation effects were finished. And then they supposedly loved the movie. I question that assessment. I think that's probably a bit exaggerated. And when we get to the ruby slippers, I'll mention that, you know, Disney was probably grateful to retain those.
I think they were, yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling they were.
They had to be, and you know, they had to pay MGM, you know, at the time.
Yeah, because you know, and remember, this movie was primarily made to take advantage of the books before they fell into the public domain, and they were just very lucky to have found somebody like Walter Murch that was passionate enough about these books and about Baum and about this material that it ended up being as good as it did. But here again, it was nothing like the 1939 film, and that alienated audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
Did you guys ever freak out at this part when they turned to sand?
I love
man!
When that one wheeler falls in the sand and just turns, it just turns right into it.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Does anyone have like a favorite really weird character from the Oz canon? Whether that's book or movie?
Weird.
I'm a big fan of Belina the chicken.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a big fan of Belina the chicken, and Brian Henson for his work on Jack Pumpkinhead. I think is extraordinary. But I really like all the new characters in this movie. I mean, yeah, I do.
You know what? I don't think we're ever going to see like the glass cat of Oz, though. Where it's like the Wizard of Oz lobotomized that cat to make it more agreeable.
Oh, you know what? You might be on something now. So you might be on something. I'm pretty sure there's not anything called the glass cat. So, I mean, you could put that one together.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
Oh, I hated the part where the gump falls apart.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Because I
terrifying.
think everybody's going to die at that point.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
From the Gump's point of view, he's just like, oh, I just woke up and now I got to fly this pumpkin head and this chicken and this girl and fly him over the deadly desert. I was like,
And now my body's falling apart.
Reincarnated and everything. Although I got to admit, I'd rather fall into the deadly desert than the bog of eternal stench from Labyrinth.
Yes.
I mean, well, come on.
No,
I mean, either instant cremation or smelling like crap for the rest of your life. I mean,
yeah, I'll just take instant cremation. That's fine.
Hey, until you find the Fountain of Youth stone. So when you find the Fountain of Youth, you could just get it, and then you'll be fine.
I also really hate Jack's floating head and like Dorothy almost falling off of the sofa.
Yeah. That's so weird.
Yeah. Just too
oh
much,
Jesus! That poor Gump.
I know. Yeah. It just falls right in. And the thing is, which I just realized now, none of them, I mean, they all fall, right around each other, but it's like Belina didn't fall off and get hit by the rock and died, or, they all like were there and still alive. I mean, or, the Gum could have fallen off completely and they would have had to go down the mountain to pick them up. They clearly, wanted them all together.
Belina's just fine. She's like, nah, it's cool. I got this.
Yeah.
My wings are still attached.
Yes.
Jack Pumpkinhead, the pumpkin is upside down. So that gives me the idea that when they took it off and before they put it back on, somebody had the bright idea of putting Belina in there, or even Belina might have gone in there herself. We don't see it on screen. And I think it's very clever how they set this up for later. But yeah, we need a distraction. Just to let TikTok fall on his back a couple times. That'll be a perfect distraction.
Yeah.
God, these claymation effects are incredible.
Man, I relate so hard to TikTok. Just somebody pick me up. Just I can't get up.
I relate
trying
to
to get out
Jack.
of bed.
I relate to Jack with his head on upside down. I know, I definitely do.
Well, I mean, he's also a redhead. His head is orange.
And I do say that, pumpkin is my favorite color. So.
Oh, see, and you have that little pumpkin right near you.
How do we know there's not a pumpkin in your hair, Susan?
There's probably one in there somewhere.
Like one of these days, you're going to show to a stream, and your little bun is just going to be a pumpkin.
YouTube live stream. Let's find the pumpkin in Susan's hair.
Right.
The pumpkin mystery. Yeah.
But the claymation is so good in this. And, I understand CGI is an art as well and all that. But I mean, to me, you can't beat them taking so much time. Because it's so much time and hard work just for little bits of it. So it's just incredible to me.
Rock should not be able to show that many expressions.
But these are not just any rocks.
They are douchebag rocks.
Thank you. They are douchebag rocks. They have a reputation that they need to, uphold.
Indeed. Dorothy's really standing up to him here. Okay,
You guys
yeah,
want to get
there's
a special guest and friend real fast? If it's okay with Stone.
oh yeah.
This is Landon Parks. Landon Parks is responsible for the finishing touches on the Ring Return to Oz film.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This is him. He is very, very, very talented. He knows what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
And you
Try to.
guys may or may not see some beautiful, sparkling ruby slippers in this documentary, but I guess you'll have to wait to find out.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this documentary. I think
And
it's gonna be awesome.
he is also a really big Oz fan as well, and he has a lot of. I mean, he's the kind of person that has a lot of opinions, but not that they're bad, but he has always a lot of opinions about Return to Oz, and of course, the Oz books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Oh, say something. Seriously.
yeah, what do you think about Return to Oz?
Well, yeah. What do you want to say about Return to Oz? And yeah.
Well, I would say that Return to Oz is probably in the top 3 or 4 films for me.
The top favorites.
Yeah. It's right up there. Although I gotta say, I'm also a big 80s fantasy film buff. So anything from back in the 80s, like Labyrinth, The Never-Ending Story.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of that look and feel from the mid to late 80s. Yeah. And the Return to Oz really kind of just fits that mold for me. Compared, yeah.
Yeah.
Did everybody else get their love of geodes from Dorothy falling through the mines?
I loved it. I always just loved that.
Speaking of rocks, I have a whole bunch of rocks right here.
Oh,
Look at my rocks. I have lots
Those
of
are
rocks.
neat.
Those are
really
nice.
neat.
This is citrine.
you
That's
stole those from the New King, right?
Smoky citrine.
yeah, wow. That is cool.
Clear quartz. Yeah.
Got-
I'm gonna go with yes.
please.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
answer you with a yes.
Yeah.
Nice. All my other nice rocks are in the calming bathroom.
Yeah.
It's a good vibe place.
Yes.
Now think about how cruel this is. That this he's basically going to play a little game with her by just a pretty horrific game. I mean, just
Well, it's like him and the rest of his gnomes. Like he turned everybody else in Oz to stone, so you get pretty bored talking to the same douchebag rocks all the time. So now that Dorothy's here and she's got a whole bunch of other new people.
I'm going on 4.
Or 5. I told
all
him he had to step out for a little while to deal with some other family members that stopped in for a little while, but he literally just commented to me, and he said, "Oh, she's still going on 4 or 5, or about the douchebag rock comment." I'm like, "Yeah, she is."
Yep.
Take a drink every time Sam says douchebag rocks.
Don't do that, you'll die.
Yeah.
I have water though, so I'm okay.
Yeah,
You'll either be hydrated or die.
Why does man? That's harsh.
It literally just throws him into the room. I mean, yeah, the Gnome King is horrible. I mean,
For the longest time, I thought it was the Gnome King, but with a G. And now that I know it's not, spelled, Gnome. I'm thinking the King of Nome, Alaska. What? I don't know if there are other words that are just Nome.
And did you guys notice this part when she's up in that tower and she's talking to them, and how her voice is just in this weird? It's like the voice is off, but it's like she's acting more evil, like an off tone or something. Have you guys remember that or noticed?
I don't know.
I'm hearing static. Is that just me?
I don't know.
I'm hearing static too, but I don't know whose end.
I don't either.
I have a feeling.
It sounds
Yeah,
like someone eating chips.
Yeah, I know.
I'll come back.
Oh, okay. No problem, Aaron.
I
no
just
problem.
want somebody to share. Who has the chips?
Thank you. I was like, yeah, it totally sounds like chips.
Like barbecue? Anybody?
In that New York Times article, it says, as early as 1980, Mr. Murch had sent a script to Will Vinton, who had been nominated for several Academy Awards for claymation, a technique of animating clay. He wanted Mr. Vinton to create characters that were rock and at the same time not rock. But by the summer of 1984, $350,000 had been spent on claymation with no results, and the producer was insisting that claymation be abandoned. But serendipitously for Mr. Murch, the producer's own movie Police Academy was a major box office hit, and he left in August to make Police Academy 2. In September, Michael Eisner, Frank Wells, Jeff Katzenberg took over Disney, and Return to Oz, with most of its claymation missing, was screened for them at George Lucas's house in San Anselmo, California. That was Big Brother's arm around Walter, says his wife. George was saying, "You better not hurt my little brother." George had forgotten that if you screen in the morning, people want lunch. So he and I did the uncool thing of going to Taco Bell and buying $50 worth of tacos. Disney reacted to the film with a non-committal niceness.
I kind of want Taco Bell now.
Taco Bell didn't win them over. I'm so confused right now because Taco Bell would have been better back then than it is now.
Yeah.
So
back when they before they put anti-dusting agents in the meat or whatever, quote unquote meat.
Weird.
Oh,
I'm vegetarian, so I always like Taco Bell because before you could get anything vegetarian or vegan anywhere, Taco Bell could hook you up. So like I never had to worry about the, mystery meat or anything. It's just like beans and rice.
I totally wanted some of those. I want to figure out a recipe for limestone cakes, and then I don't know how to make hot molten silver as a drink, but I have silver needle tea, so it might be a start.
Oh.
But those limestone cakes look so good. There's too much in this movie I would like to eat.
That's true.
What other Fairuza Balk movies do you ladies like real quick?
Well, The Craft, obviously.
The Craft is great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She was in The Waterboy, and I mean that's okay, but I think she's a high point of that.
Well, I love her in Almost Famous, the Cameron Crowe movie. I can't remember her character's name off the top of my head, but near the end when Billy Crudup is they're having food and everything, and Fairuza Balk is telling him, well, we all know what you did to him, and then she mentioned none of these girls use birth control and they eat all the steak. And of course she was in American History X with Edward Norton.
Huh.
I never saw that one.
I'm not very well versed on the rest of Fairuza Balk's film catalog.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. She went from being Dorothy, who is ostensibly a good witch of Oz, but then she just becomes the Wicked Witch of the East in The Craft.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I really wish a house would have landed on her.
She was in that. Island of Dr. Moreau. Oh, I never saw
no,
that.
I didn't know that.
What? She's
I didn't know she was in that. Was she a weird animal creature?
Almost Famous is absolutely great. Oh yeah, one of my favorites. Almost Famous is one of only 2 films where I actually sung along with the cast in the theater when I saw it, when they played Tiny Dancer, when they played Elton John's Tiny Dancer. The only other movie that ever happened was when I saw Magnolia. And Amy Mann, that's her name. Yeah, Amy Mann's songs, one of them made me sing along with all the characters. Let's see, is Aaron going to try to get back in here?
There he is.
Are you all right, Aaron?
I can't hear.
Oh,
You all right?
we weren't saying anything. Can you hear us now?
Oh, he's not muted. No.
I don't think he can hear us though.
Can you hear us, Aaron? Or
I don't know.
We'll figure
it's
it
all
out.
good, man. It's all good. It's all good.
If you don't know, who does?
Well,
Yeah, I don't think he could hear us.
yeah. He's got a what? He's got a little emerald like patch on his robe or whatever. Yeah. All right, now here the ruby slippers are about to make their appearance. Here's my issue with the ruby slippers. Now, in the 1939 film, they made total sense. I mean, it was meant to show off, the Technicolor and how far that technology had come up until that point. It was made specifically to wow audiences with the color. Now, in the books, as most Oz fans know, they use silver shoes, not the ruby slippers. But because MGM owned the rights to the first book, The Wonderful World of Oz, they essentially had the rights to basically any kind of shoe. Now, I can't say for sure if this was a demand on Disney's part or on MGM's part. I have a feeling it was MGM's part, though, that, well, of course you got to use the ruby slippers. And guess what? You got to pay us some money, which I don't know if Walter Murch had fought enough that they would have gotten silver shoes, but it just would have made 1,000 times more sense if the silver shoes had been worn here. And I think to audiences, it would have made a lot more sense. What do you both think?
I think that you could have just gone with the silver shoes. Oz has fallen into disrepair, and the ruby slippers have turned into the silver slippers.
Yeah.
So you could have gone with that, and then you wouldn't have had to worry about it for paying all that extra money for the ruby slipper rights. I think it would have been fine. I would have been all right with it.
I mean, magical slippers are magical slippers. So,
Yeah, you're gonna have a delay difference.
I think it would have been fine. I would have been all right.
Yeah,
you doing all
you
right,
guys
Aaron?
hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, I mean, I've always loved those ruby slippers, and they're outstanding. And you guys are gonna see. I'm just gonna say it now, but you guys are going to see these. Actually, her ruby slippers, literally in the documentary.
oh,
You'll see how they appear, but they're gonna be there.
I'm very
Nice.
yeah, definitely.
I'm tempted to take my ruby slipper complaint back now.
Yeah, well, feel free.
I mean, I'm just saying, if it had the silver shoes, I think it would have made sense to a lot more people that, okay, this was not trying to be a sequel. This was trying to be a new adaptation of Baum.
The ruby slippers are kind of a weird symbiote. It's like they can attach to whoever's putting them on, and then you become like a super powerful sorceress or wizard or witch.
Yeah. Now, of course, is a very elaborate game that the Gnome King is playing with Dorothy to try to get her friends back. The situation seems so bleak and hopeless that I mean, when I was a kid, I was thinking, oh no, there's no way she's going to be able to get out of this. Is she even going to be able to make it home, let alone save everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And she did a great job in this of
Oh,
making you have empathy for her character. And
yeah.
I don't know, maybe you guys are different, but for me, I have a lot of trouble with children in movies. Some of them, I don't care if they're a good actor or not. That doesn't even matter. They make my brain hurt. I'm just like, no. And she did a really good job with this, I think. Because if I can stand a kid in a movie, they're doing a good job.
Well, the thing is, I mean, they're very hard to judge. They're very hard to judge because of the fact that they're so inexperienced. But you know, Fairuza Balk, I think, impresses right out of the gates with this performance. I mean, she's just terrific. And may I please welcome our third Wicked Witch, who just came in from the east on her broomstick, Jamie Hart. How you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing a little bit better. A little.
Oh, that is so good to hear. We're so glad you're feeling better. So, tell us what you think of Return to Oz.
I love it. It was disturbing the first time I saw it. I went with my mom and my brothers, and my brother Ryan was only like 4, and we had no idea how scary it was going to be. And when he saw those wheelers, he literally, we lost someone. He literally jumped. He literally jumped behind the seats, and my mom was like, "Ryan, get up here," you know. And he didn't want to come out. And when he saw, zombie with those heads, he was freaked out by that too. I think it disturbed him for the rest of his life, to be honest. I was a little older, so I could handle it better. I was 12, maybe, when I saw this in the theater.
Oh, you saw this in the theater?
Of course.
Well, what was the audience reaction? What do you remember the audience reaction being in general when you saw this in the theater?
I remember the audience was gasping and very scared of the Wheelers and zombie, and pretty much it wasn't a rowdy situation because it was a lot of kids in there. So it wasn't a rowdy situation like it was when I went to see Friday the 13th Part 5. That was totally different. It scared us though, and I thought me and my mom looked at each other and we said, I thought this was for kids. It didn't seem like it was for kids. My brother Ryan was definitely disturbed for the rest of his life by that. So, do you guys got a timestamp?
Oh yes, let me get a timestamp here real quick. Let's see.
Mine's 1:24:49.
I'm at 10 seconds away from 1:26.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 hour and 26 minutes. So we got approximately about 20 minutes left here.
Wow, I went right to it. Isn't that weird? 1:26:10.
Oh.
Zombie.
Oh, Daily Ghost remember seeing in the theater, remember being freaked out. What's up, guys? It's all right, Jay. It's good to have you.
Hey, Jay.
Oh, I should open this in a new window.
Hey, Jay, I hope you're a Return to Oz fan. I became a Monster Squad fan recently because of Jay. I want to throw that out there right now. When they put the dynamite in the Wolfman's pants and he blew up, I thought that was epic.
My husband is a die-hard Monster Squad fan.
Die-hard Monster Squad fan?
Yeah, he's got some autograph somewhere.
Oh, cool.
Oh. Okay, now I gotta say, I wanted to avoid any suggestive comments in this commentary, but I have to say it. Every time the Gnome King says that I'm about to become completely human and there'll be nobody left, she has this look on her face like, oh, he's about to become human? Oh, that's good for me, I think. Look at the face. Look at the face. I'm serious. Look at that face was like, wow. Human King? Oh yeah, I'd be down for that. Look at Sam's face. Oh no.
Well, I mean, I also have questions about like the King and Queen of Oz anyway, because it's like Ozma's the Queen of Oz and the Scarecrow's the King of Oz. What those kids looking like?
Ugh.
And then we ended up with the Gnome King and Mombi. What those kids looking like? I don't know how that works in Oz.
I know you guys can't see it, but I did wear like my wife mom witch shirt.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Very cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I'm wearing my good witch socks. They
Oh,
say
cute.
good witch. They say good witch on there.
Good witch socks. Awesome. Awesome.
I've brought my resting witch face mug, but my witch face doesn't rest.
I brought my broom.
I saw that. I was in bed.
And my Sanderson sisters shirt. It's actually
Oh, I love that.
The skeleton's on the back too, so it's like.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw your broom. I was watching in bed.
Oh yeah, and Jamie, I was saying earlier, just what you were saying, that it's Disney. It's like Disney movies for kids, but clearly not for kids.
No, no, they made this. This had some really scary stuff in it. Not that the first original didn't, because those flying monkeys are terrifying.
I was just gonna say that, the flying monkeys. No.
Yeah.
And the apple trees, I was always terrified of the apple trees. I didn't like the apple trees, and that's probably why I don't like. Well, I hang out in the orchard a little too much now. I guess it don't bother me so much no more. But we have an orchard back there, and every time I go back there, I think about the apple trees every single time.
Another nitpick about this movie is the Scarecrow's expressions are only limited to like 2 or 3. I wish they would have spent a little bit more time on the Scarecrow, even though he doesn't have a lot of screen time here. But
Scarecrow's more loyal to the book interpretation, though, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Extremely.
Visuals. They actually took from the paintings or the illustrations of the original books when they made this. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was the case.
We lost that guy.
Yeah, unfortunately he was having I think he was talking on his phone. And he just kept
that's
getting,
why.
And also there were other people around him, so I had to mute him a few times, but it's okay. I mean, yeah.
Hey, when did the Gnome King lose an eye? I don't remember that.
Oh,
I see,
yeah, he is
I see
missing
what
an
you did there. You said, I don't remember that. I see.
Oh,
I see too.
Yeah, what happened to the other eye? That's a good question. I don't think I've ever asked that before. What happened to the other eye?
Just noticed it now.
Yeah, why is it not addressed?
The one-eyed
You're
gnome
right, it is
king.
missing.
Literally a one-eyed monster. I'm so sorry.
Oh yes, yeah. Just to
That
make
gets
it
my
more,
conspiracy
make it
theorist
more
in me all
weird
going
and
crazy.
creepy. Oh, this is all terrific stuff.
Oh, I love it. So nice to see. And you can, I mean, it's the texture is so fabulous in this movie. It's so beautiful claymation. I just love being able to pick up texture in scenes. Ah.
I mean, to just think about what went into just that one little snippet of him, I mean, that's
so much
just
love.
So cool.
And effort
Yeah.
and care.
Do we know who did the claymation for this? It wasn't Harryhausen, was it?
It was Will Vinton, who I was talking about earlier. He an Oscar-winning claymation artist, and he was actually nominated for this movie for Return to Oz. But sadly, this film just didn't. It barely made $11 million on a $28 million budget, and that is very, very sad, considering all the time and the work and the history and the background. It's insane that it didn't. Yeah.
Did they say why it didn't do it? Like, did they think it had to do with marketing, or did they think it had to do with the fact that it was more adult?
Disney's marketing is a big culprit, I think, in this.
Yeah,
I mean, if
I
they
don't
really
remember.
loved it, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I don't remember seeing a lot of commercials for it on TV. I mean, obviously I did because I begged my mom to take us to it. This was me doing, this was my doing. I wanted to go see this big time, and I dragged my mom and my brothers. So it definitely had been advertised, but I'm not so sure that it was advertised as widely as it should have been. And, it is funny. All the kids in the neighborhood did see it. So it's not like I was the only kid in my neighborhood that went to the theater and saw this. A lot of kids did. We all talked about the Wheelers for years. The Wheelers freaked everybody out.
Oh, yes.
Are you on the sequence where he's like melting? The stone guy? The Gnome King?
The Gnome King, yeah. He just becomes a pile of rubble. He just cracks apart into a pile of rubble.
Yes.
Then the ruby slippers, yeah. Yeah, this last sequence in Oz is a little, I don't know, maybe a little rushed. But the thing is like, I mean, did you really want her to return to Kansas, or did you want her to stay?
Ooh, I don't know. Somebody else gonna have to answer that first.
Why do you have to leave right away? Why can't you party a little bit? I mean, they could have. It's a little too rushed.
Auntie M did send her for shock treatment, so I'm gonna go with Oz.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, Auntie M's gonna be saying, "They're all gonna laugh at you."
Exactly.
They're all gonna laugh at you. Especially the Wheelers. Oh yeah, they love laughing.
Yeah.
But it's like
apparently.
It's like I told Aaron before the stream. If Wizard of Oz was a dream, then Return to Oz is a nightmare.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Return to Oz is a fever dream.
Yep.
Okay, so the fact that she gets taken to this hospital and put in that was a huge, humongous, disturbing part for me and my mom, and trying to explain this to my brothers at their age was like impossible. They couldn't understand at all what that was all about, with her going to this hospital and having to get electric shock therapy because she had a dream and she thinks it was real. It was weird. It was definitely a weird thing that I don't even know why they put that in the movie. What's that all about? Why is it there?
I honestly don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I love it, but I don't know why it's there either.
It doesn't fit. It's like they threw it in there. They have something they're saying, but I don't know what they're saying.
Right. Like, please explain yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. I really love the scene where everybody in the Emerald City is coming down that walkway, flooding the halls. Because, there's such a moment of genuine triumph I get from watching this scene after everybody's been saved and everything is restored back to its former glory. It just makes me so happy. Also, seeing the Frogman of Oz in the background is nice, too.
Yeah.
Somebody went to so much effort to do, to bring actual characters from the Oz books into this scene. And somebody had to make a freaking frog mask for the Frogman. And I hope that person still has it.
That would be exciting if they do.
I'm back now.
Oh,
welcome back.
Hi.
I'm so sorry.
back,
There were major technical difficulties, but they're fixed.
Oh, it's all right, dude. It's all right.
We just appreciate you joining us.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been. Oh man, we're so grateful that you can come and join us for this because, I can't wait.
At least you were here for the whole thing.
I know. I was here for the majority of it.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
Jamie, Aaron, Jamie, yeah, Jamie's our Wicked Witch from the East, yeah.
Wow, Purple Witch.
Yes, purple. Yep, it's my favorite color.
Oh, that's good.
If only they had spent just a little bit more time and money on this sequence, just have her stay and chill for a while. I mean, you just saved him, and you have to go back now. Like, really?
No.
there's such a longing of like wanting to stay and like get to, you know, experience more of Oz rather than having to go on the journey to save Oz.
Emma Ridley's favorite scene literally was going through, you know, the pretend glass through to meet her. So that was actually like her favorite scene.
I love what she's wearing too.
Yeah, yeah.
The green, the feathers and everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Aren't you glad Mom's in jail, right?
She's got this evil smirk on her
face.
She does. I love it.
Yeah.
And that's the fact check.
Yes. I just want to know how Ozma grew up as Mombi's slave when she was the daughter of the King of Oz.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
It's like, sir, can we speak with you, please?
Yes.
To have a talk about how you're raising your daughter.
Are you gonna send a letter to the Emerald City, Sam, and find out?
No, I'm gonna just go there because I might want to pick up some emeralds for myself.
Yes.
Now, the key around the chicken's neck, it looked like it had like little green emeralds in the Z portion of it.
Yeah,
it did.
In the Blu-ray, that really comes out.
It does.
Yeah.
Belina has a great glow up over this whole movie. She starts out like almost dinner, and then she's the royal chicken of Oz.
That's
exactly.
Right. Oh, but really, y'all think that maybe like Aunt Em and Uncle Henry cooked Belina and just never told Dorothy when she got back?
Maybe.
No.
Like, let her believe Belina's in Oz. It's fine. It's easier this way.
Yeah.
No, like
She's finally sleeping again.
I hope that's not the chicken that made me sick.
You know, we had to eat while you were in shock treatment. I mean, what
yeah.
would we eat, you know? I mean, it's like...
It's like, sure, Dorothy talks to the mirror all day, but she's not talking about that dang chicken again.
Oh, Fairuza Balk's so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a long, lingering shot on Ozma's face, like looking so sad that Dorothy's leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look, that looks like The Craft.
Yes.
That's some foreshadowing for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sad I missed the part where they're all like riding on the bed. I love that part so much, and I'm sad I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this when we're finished.
Mm-hmm. It is a really fun part of the film.
We didn't mention Uncle Henry, played by an actor named Matt Clark, and I think that people know him best as the bartender in Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This scene always gets me when it's Dorothy
Toto
getting reunited with Uncle Henry and
with
Toto. Yeah, Toto finding her. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, did you expect him to bring the chicken with them? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah.
No, of course it's got to be Toto.
That chicken was dinner. There is no bringing the chicken.
No.
And it's really, it's like you can see how much love they have for for her, and like it's their daughter, even though it's not. They were really worried about her. They're so happy to see her back home.
Mm-hmm. Well, Uncle Henry pulling like an Uncle Joe from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Hey, I don't need this cane anymore. The next day.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Malingerer.
Right. And there she goes away.
If she starts saying they're all gonna laugh at you, I'm out.
There's the house.
Dr. Worley died trying to save his machines.
That's right.
Demented to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he cannot practice his quackery on any more.
Quackery.
Yeah.
That's the perfect name for it, John.
I just hope they were able to save the people from the basement from their Saw-like situations, you know.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're carting Nurse Wilson away.
Right.
Yeah, look at that farmhouse. I would love to live in something like that. I'm very happy with my current home because I have one, but still, that farmhouse is beautiful.
It is. It's cute.
Yeah. Like I said, Walter Murch actually drew from the pictures and of how it really looked at the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad he did
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah, that's so wonderful.
And I love this. I love this final scene where it's like no words. Just
Yeah.
I'll always be here in the mirror if you need somebody.
Yeah, it's special. It really is.
Yeah.
Is that the same mirror from the hospital though? Because it looks like it's the same style. No, it's probably just the same style.
I was going to make a joke about her dropping the house on me, but I changed my mind. I almost, I have those black and white nylons like that.
All right.
Just like her socks. And I was going to wear them, but I couldn't figure out her outfit.
That would have been funny then.
Yeah. It would have been good, but
yeah,
I was feeling sick, so I wasn't thinking real straight.
Mm.
I was lucky to remember my witch t-shirt.
Yeah, good.
And my favorite piece of music from David Shire's score is Here Over the End Credits. I mean, like I said, when those violins come in and actually illuminate Dorothy and all her strength and perseverance,
that's beautiful.
It gets to me every single time. Every single time. Directed by Walter Murch. Oh, and the other guy he wrote this with, Gil Dennis, he didn't write a lot of other movies, but his last film that he wrote was Walk the Line.
Wow.
The biopic of
whatever that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. The music biopic about Johnny Cash. He actually wrote
Cash
that.
is awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Walk the Line. I mean, yeah, Reese Witherspoon and yeah, David Watkin, the cinematographer, Norman Reynolds, the production designer. They worked on the Indiana Jones films, and a lot of people in the Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas circles was involved in this, and of course claymation by Will Vinton Productions. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's just a shame that it didn't do better in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of other fantasy films, like the Black Cauldron. That's another one that people bring up. And Something Wicked This Way Comes. Like,
that's right.
They all have cult audiences now, but back then it just seemed like it didn't get to people at the time. Yeah.
I saw them all at the theater, but I'm a freak, so I was at the theater like every week. So
Jamie, my mind is still blown. You saw this in the theater. That still blows my mind.
That's a great.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh,
that's really wow. I bet.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than I look. I just turned 48.
Oh,
so. Hey, look, there's a Robertson in there. Oh, sorry.
I bet
that's my maiden name.
Oh, wow. Jamie, did you have some, a lot of anticipation when you walked in to see that film in the theaters?
I did.
Yeah.
I was 12. My brothers, one was 4, one was like, if I was 12, he had to be 9.
Wow.
And it really freaked them out. I was at an age where I was okay with seeing stuff that's scary. I had already seen like Friday the 13th and all this other stuff in the theater. So I was already well into horror movies, but my brothers were still too young to see stuff like that. So when they saw her getting taken into that hospital and getting, electric shock therapy, my brother Ryan was like freaked out and was like, no doctor's going to do that to me, right? My mom's like, no, honey, no. Me and my mom looked at each other like, what is this doing in here? This doesn't make sense. Why is it here?
Oh my gosh.
And then, of course, when the Wheelers came out, my brother Ryan, he really freaked out and he jumped up and went over the back of the seat. And
seriously?
Was, like, back there. Yeah.
How old was he?
It wasn't a full theater. It was a matinee.
It was a matinee. Okay.
Yeah. So there wasn't anybody there.
Yeah. And did you go to Radio City Music Hall, right?
No, I
No,
live
you
in
didn't see it there.
the sticks.
Oh, okay.
I live in Western New York, which
Oh,
is
Western
like
New York.
basically
Okay.
forest. So
Okay.
so
But still, you
my
saw it.
theater around here is very little and very local.
Okay. Well,
The
still,
only
hey,
time-
you still went to the theater.
The only time I went to Radio City Music Hall, I got to see Blazing Saddles there, but I saw it 3 days after Gene Wilder passed. So,
Oh, wow.
and Mel Brooks was there in attendance, and when Gene Wilder falls from the top bunk bed and he's drunk, the entire audience just deafening applause for Gene Wilder, and I think Mel Brooks got very emotional at that time. But and just real quick, with the end credits, they did give credit to the original illustrations and designs from the books right in the credits. It was filmed at Thorne EMI Elstree Studios. Like I said, the opticals, the matte paintings, they are all rich and all wonderful.
Yeah.
And they all perfectly fit in this movie. Distributed by Buena Vista Distribution Company, and that is the end of Return to Oz, which is a film that I think we're all in love with for many similar reasons, but also many different reasons. And I mean, I'm just glad that that there is a documentary now coming out about the making of this movie and about I'm looking forward to all those interviews.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody, had such clear memories, and Jamie didn't hear when I mentioned before, but Fairuza Balk, it's like Fairuza Balk has actually kept quiet about this film. She really has, and we're so happy that she agreed to do this, because when she talks about the film, and you guys will see this on the documentary, she has literally a crystal clear mind on these stories. And it's just, I mean, she loved it. She had fun. It was, it was special to her. And she has said, and it's on, there's a clip of this like on the film, and she says that she's happy that this is coming out now. So people will realize that she really had fun. And so, but I think from what we understand, this is probably going to be the only time, most likely, that she's going to come out on something like this about the film, because that time of her childhood was just very, very, that was the start of everything for her. And so she's very, I think that she must, point is, she's just, very, very picky about what she does. And, and she was very, very calm when we met her and everything. But at the same time, she was so nice and kind and happy, and just, she was happy about it, and she wanted to talk about it. So it was neat. It really was.
Wonderful. And of course, I mean, what I'm most grateful for is that you managed to snag interviews with Gary Kurtz and Will Vincent. They passed away just a few years ago. I mean,
and Gary Kurtz, of course, we knew what we wanted to get as many people as possible, since some have passed away. And here's something I think you guys will love to hear. I actually talked to Matt Clark, and unfortunately, because he has gotten a lot of older and everything, and this is about 2 years ago, but he couldn't really remember much about the film. I mean, he did enjoy it. It wasn't like he hated it, but his memory was just not as it used to be, unfortunately. Right. Because he was getting older, and but for everybody else, they really did remember. And Gene Marsh, I actually reached out to Gene Marsh's management a couple of times, and they told me, they were like, well, she would like to be involved with this, but they said that she's just really ill at the time, and she apparently had been sick for a while now. I guess at least this was about a year ago. So unfortunately, again, she's a lot older, but so many other people, and like Stone said, Gary Kurtz, I reached out to their management, and they said they were going to give a message and all this. And then literally a few days later, I got a call, and I kid you not, like I would not make this up. He called me and he said, hi. He's like, is this Aaron? And I told Stone this. Stone knows this because I told this to Stone before this recording the other day. And I said, yes, this is Aaron. He said, hi, this is Gary Kurtz. And he's like, I understand you're trying to do a documentary about Return to Oz. And I said, yes, I am. And he said, I want to know. He's like, is Fairuza involved? And I said, yes, she is. And he said, okay. And then he said, well, he said, if Fairuza is involved with this, he's like, I want to be involved too, So I just knew, and then yeah. And then a few minutes later in the conversation, he basically, he's like, I want to make sure, he's like, he was double checking. He's like, I really do want to make sure Fairuza really is going to be a part of this. And I said, yes, she's going to do an on-camera interview, and she's already agreed to it. And he said, okay, good. He's like, and I told him, I said, we really appreciate, all that kind of thing, that he's, going to do this, and just, very nice of him, despite his busy schedule. He's like, well, I want to make time for this. And he said, Return to Oz is important or something like that, so it was cool. It wasn't Star Wars, it was actually something that he wanted to do, so it was cool,
That's awesome. I mean, like I said, just the names that are involved in this film, I think are, they're not household names, but they are.
No.
Legendary. I mean, Gary Kurtz. I think Gary Kurtz deserved the Best Picture Oscar for Star Wars.
And
George Lucas wouldn't have won, but he would have.
And here you'll like to hear this as well. And Stone, you don't know this. I reached out, so we were thinking, over the time with all these people on here. Of course, we already knew, obviously, about Walter Murch being fired and that whole thing. And Walter Murch gets into that in the documentary. Baum's the other producer, they all get into it. And Walter wanted to talk about this. He wanted, and so I told Aaron Schultz, who is technically the director, I said, look, you think Walter Murch is going to even be able to talk about being fired on the phone? He's like, yes. He's like, he probably will. So then we brought it up, because he ended up, thankfully, he was very, very kind to film professionally all his stuff. And we just gave him a whole list of questions, and he had another friend interview him, so it just, because, that's how badly you want it. You want it in a professional setting, So anyways, but no, he wanted to get into it about him being fired, and he does, and he gets into it. And so George Lucas, though, so I was like, okay, so with all these people, I said, it would be, a shocking, mind-blowing thing if, George Lucas was actually, on this, just to get into it, But I did reach out to their management. Of course, they declined. However, they did tell me that, he sends his best wishes and all that type of thing. So he did, I believe, probably did know about it, but how he is. He's not going to probably make time for that, but he does know about it. So.
Well, I mean,
Awesome.
He's not given. Oh, I'm sorry. He's not given an official credit, but they do thank him in the end credits.
Oh yeah, they do. They do.
He was obviously a very, influential behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
it was in that director's chair.
Yeah,
I mean,
him
and Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, and Francis Ford Coppola, because I mean, and Paul Manslasky gets into it. The producer of the Police Academy movie, since he was also involved with Return to Oz, and he gets into all this stuff too in the documentary. So he's getting older now too, and my gosh, I mean, they have strong memories, their minds are like that. And Colin Michael Kitchens, he's listed also in the credits as the associate producer. He has a lot of cool stuff to say as well. So you guys will get to hear. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome. And like you were saying before we stop the live stream. So it's going to premiere hopefully on Halloween. Is that right?
I am. So I'll say it here, and then if anyone else sees this after this is live or anything else, can reach out to me about this. But at this time, we are wanting to have this released out on Halloween weekend. October 29th is technically roughly our release date. However, being said that, we still want to go ahead and maybe have this be picked up by a distribution company. So depending on what happens in these next X amount of weeks, our plan is to have it released out on October 29th on Amazon Instant Video. So people can get up on there and see it. And so that's kind of what we're planning now. So in actuality, the release date is going to be October 29th, but that could be slightly subject to change. So, but it's definitely going to be getting out to some film festivals. We're going to be sending stuff out this week, and we'll see what happens. And I hope if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it gets chosen or picked or whatever, so I guess we'll find out.
And seriously, keep us updated on
I will.
on Facebook and Twitter and everything about what's going on with that. But yeah, so
thanks.
October 29th.
October 29th is yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, people can go to Disney's Return to Oz on Facebook, so they can just go there, put in Remembering Return to Oz, and they can see the updates. Because we have so many people on there, that have been following it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, tell you what, before we go, let me thank everybody in the chat for coming. See Cliff Booth, Oracle 684, Joe Pob, Tar Heel, Sean McManus, Jinx Hart, Landon Parks, Sean McManus, and Dr. CZ Death, Cable Channel 11.
Wow.
And the Daily Ghost, Jade Stingray, and I think that might be it. Yeah. Okay. And
Daily.
Go ahead.
I was just say Daily Ghost. I don't know who you are, but I would love to hear more about you and what you do for the film community or horror community.
Oh, okay. There you go, Daily Ghost. You got a shout out.
Daily Ghost.
He said he's excited to see the doc.
I see that. Yeah, thank you.
Well, tell you what, Aaron, ladies, any final words on Return to Oz? Sam, how about we start with you? Final words on Return to Oz.
I love this movie. I will love this movie till the day I die. And Aaron, thank you so much for bringing this documentary to us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Susan?
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it just reignited my love for it, seeing it again now, and really have a next level appreciation for it over and above, the initial one. So thankful for this, and it was a great time. And to reiterate what Sam said, thank you, Aaron, for doing this, because it's really going to be so exciting to kind of dive into everything that went into this film, because it just encompasses so much. So
absolutely. How about Jamie?
I just want to say, thank you for making the documentary. I'm looking really forward to seeing it. I've seen this movie about 20 times in my life, and I love it every time I see it. I love it more. And just thank you, because I'm looking forward to finding out all of the background about it. So thank you.
Thanks. You guys' support means so much to me, and Susan, I have to say that you have a wonderful, wonderful heart that is really, it's like you're in tune with what's going on. Like, I can tell. And Sam and Jamie and Stone, like, I can tell that you guys truly, truly love this, the love Return to Oz. Like, you can just tell. And it's just cool. It's cool to meet you guys, and it's cool that you are this interested in Return to Oz, and of course, the documentary. And I'm glad you guys are excited. I really am.
Well, I mean, let me just say before we go that this month I had the pleasure of having two commentaries with two documentarians making documentaries about those movies. On Howard the Duck, we had we had the guy bring Howard the Duck, the Stop Quacking or I screwed up the title already, but Howard the Duck, Stop Quacking, or How I Learned to Stop Quacking or Love the Bomb. He was on board, and that went great, and this was just as illuminating. And speaking of, like Sam and Susan and Jamie said, our wonderful witches tonight. That thank you from the bottom of our hearts for writing and producing this documentary, and I can't wait to see it. I literally can't wait to see it and hear all these stories about about the making of the movie, warts and all. I mean, warts and all. It's going to be, I think, quite something to see. So thank you so much again, Aaron, for joining us tonight. And
You're
just to
welcome.
let everybody know before I end, and I know I've said this 10 times about leaving. The next commentary I will be doing will be on A Bay of Blood, aka Twitch of the Death Nerve, directed by Mario Bava. That will be next month in the month of September, as well as The Love Machine. I put that off for a while. We're gonna get back to The Love Machine eventually, but those will be the next two commentaries for the next month. At any rate, thank you again, Aaron, Jamie, Susan, and Sam. You are all wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Susan has a
Thank you, everybody in the chat. And everybody just keep in touch with the documentary and so when it gets ready to come out. So thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Sam.
everybody.
Thank you, Sam. Bye, Susan. Bye, Jamie.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.